for sure. And I think talking about Andbox and their ability to find success here on the attack side of Split, really this pistol round is where it needs to start, Doug. And already we're pressing towards B main. There's a little bit of A presence over the other side of the map as Seb is.
Oh, I love the discipline from Chemicals. He just waits. The wall goes up. They're going to get entry onto the site. You're going to see the remaining members of Immortals rotate over while Andbox has already lost to it and make that one as the health bars getting so dangerously low. Rossi's another one with only 45 health left. Dancing around a great flash. Things are tied up here, and the spike isn't down yet. They might pull off here, Lex.
Wow, Rossi has bought just enough time, shot up, and Gangsta over here in B Heaven. And as there's the nade coming in. Pink shells forcing off Ye, and it's even gonna get net the frag here for Immortals. Shot up, collecting that one cleanly. And as I was saying, there's a lot of pressure to put that spike down, but nevertheless, Mata has backed off, regrouped, elected to perhaps move back towards mid, maybe move towards A. Using what time he has left on his clock to put this 1v2 into at least a winning chance. Walking up now towards mail room into B Heaven.
I like this. I like the repositioning. He had plenty of time to make something work, but now he's in a 1v1. His position has been given away. He has no idea, but Gangsta's certainly worse for wear. What a play to kick off the series out of Mata. A huge 3K in a 1v2 and get some money down from the spike. What more could you ask for if you're an Andbox fan?
The man is hitting some shots. That's going to make him feel good, Doug. And I was just saying moments ago that if you're Andbox, right, like this is not a map where you want to let Immortals gain some momentum. You don't want to let them feel good, stack a difference early on. And of course, we're going to go into a Bucky buy immediately off the back of that. But nevertheless, a great start here for Andbox. Mata collecting things cleanly with a 3-frag round for him. And that was absolute chaos over there on B for just a few moments there as Andbox once again collecting B main control, spreading the map a little bit. And I think they were going to delay that B push some, but I believe it was Seb over there towards sewers near A. Got an audio cue early on that Immortals was pushing through A main, and so that B push came in very quickly, and even the wall was a little bit off center. Perhaps got a few players killed that needn't have, but this angle here from Rossi, Bucky is so dangerous so often.
I think the one thing to keep in mind is, again, you highlighted the Bucky and how devastating it can be. Be interesting to see how Andbox choose to play this out. That's a cue.
Ooh.
Right there. Rossi's been given away, and he sits on it anyway. Mata swings out, gets the best of him with the Spectre. The wall's going to go up, and they're going to get onto the site with relative ease.
1 HP on Mata. He lives and gets a Sage heal immediately. Spike goes down, and now the retake is on for Immortals. Just Bucky's in hand, Doug.
Lex, Immortals are very good at retaking this site. We saw it in the previous series. Now, remember, they don't have the gun advantage. They're also not playing on even footing. So it's much easier said than done. But they have shown proficiency in taking this site back. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case this time around.
Right. I was actually just wondering. I was like, oh, man, with only Bucky's in hand, perhaps Immortals just tries to go for exits here. And they're, timidly coming into B main here from Defender spawn. Not actually, well, there's one. Shot up, finds one in the Mata, but not quite getting the opportunities that they were hoping for, pushing in there from Defender spawn. But 2-0 now for Andbox. The bonus is underway.
Great start out of Mata. We highlighted him at the beginning of the series, and he's delivering, making us look smarter. He's also got the showstopper here at the beginning of this round. We'll see if they opt to utilize that. Meanwhile, on the side of Immortals, they're in sniffing distance of a couple of ultimates, but not going to be bringing that into the fold this round.
Yeah, and spreading a default here for Andbox. Poised to get some B main control. There is perhaps maybe a contest going on over there, but immediately that jet does fall back towards the site. That's Chemicals getting the aid of Rossi over at B main and over here at A. Gangsta immediately dropping the barrier orb, denying any kind of early A aggression here from the Cypher of the Sage on the side of Andbox, but just taking their time here, Doug, just working the map a little bit, seeing whether or not Immortals is going to play into an early, set piece of aggression. They're not going to, so for Andbox, just a matter of clearing your angles and trying to decide where your end game will come on the other side of the map. That's actually that B main fight that I was alluding to did end up occurring. Chemicals will fall. And Mata, who, again, like you had mentioned, making us look so smart, finds one, gets traded out by Rossi, and now it's 4's all.
Now, worth noting, Mata was the only one who had a rifle going into that round. It's been picked up by Vice, but we'll see how they choose to play this out. The other thing worth mentioning is we're going to see this at the beginning of the round a lot, where Gangsta's going to put the wall up into the entry to A on top of the Astra Star. When we see this dope little combination they have cooked up, we'll make sure to point it out. But for now, Andbox mulling over whether or not they want to move towards B. Rossi's waiting with open arms. So far, nothing committed. The paranoia is going to come out, but there's no dash. There's no blast pack. There's no quick way to get onto the site to follow it up, and they're running out of time. JC Staney's up from the top rope. He gets one, gets traded out. Yay. So good with the Spectre. Good for 2. Boy's going to get the spike down just in the nick of time. And now, once again, Immortals find themselves in a situation where they're going to have to fight for the retake. Problematically, for the boys on the defending side, they're one-dimensional in their approach. They're only funneling in from the same side, and Andbox knows, right? Ye walks away with 3. Andbox gets a 3-round lead, a great round for them, and they've got money to blow.
Yeah, and for attack side split, this gets real scary as defenders. You allow attackers to build a bank and run away earlier on with this game. You know, collecting a bonus is cleanly, I believe, 3 players alive, right? So just being able to bank this much cash going into a 4th round here when you know you're probably, they're only going to have 1 Bucky on the side of Immortals, and that's on JC Staney. So sheriff's all for the rest, seems like, and you know, that was a really strange ending to that round. There was a lot of different opportunities, I think, for Immortals to blow up the play. You even had on Rossi a picture-perfect fault line to delay at B main. But that's unfortunate for Chemicals getting cleared out. Or shot up over at B main. That is going to be mostly at B stack, as there is still JC Staney and Rossi able to full commit on the defensive side over here to this side of the map. So Andbox wisely just biding their time, sniffing out any additional information what they just got. No reason to move anywhere. You got a minute left on the clock. They're going to give you the opportunities. There it is, JC Staney over peeking, overstaying his welcome. Gangsta with 2 nice taps of his own on it. Yay. That'll be the only frag that Immortals find on the round as Mata cleans up with 3, 4-0 for Andbox. And Doug, really, this is a convincing start here for Andbox, in my opinion.
Man, they look good, and the truth too, Lex, is in rounds like that, Immortals, I think you mentioned that they had a Bucky, and I think that was all they had. Just so hard to get something going there. You watch members drop all over the map, but we'll see now they have rifles. Chemicals is going to have an op. What can they cook up?
Yeah, and I think this is where Immortals does kind of, this is their scary, you know, this is their form when you don't really know how confident you could be on the attack side. Gotta bide your time, maybe just wait, see what they give you. And you highlighted already, but Chemicals having this operator in hand, plenty of opportunity on a split to go and find a early man advantage with that weapon in hand.
Well, you see, like they're playing around the wall, around the oplex. They didn't put the wall up. Gangsta didn't, because they wanted to give them entry into A. Where that is, they are going to put the wall up on the other side. The paranoia is going to come out. Mata goes in with the showstopper response. 2, not able to land even 1. Meanwhile, Gangsta does clean him up. Numbers advantage in favor of Immortals. Don't think we've been able to say that the entire map up until this moment. The spike goes down. Yeah, he's just so low. He's going to drop. Excuse me, he's not going to drop. Vice is not going to have the rolling number online for the rest of the round. Again, Immortals in a spot where they can retake B. That's certainly going to help.
Caught up as a showstopper as well. Here it comes.
Oh, that one lands. Far more bang for buck this time around. Meanwhile, Ye trades it out. Shot up. And go up over the wall. Waits for it to break, and it comes out of nowhere. Oh my gosh, shot up. Are you kidding me? What an answer from Immortals.
You know, for a moment there, they backed up into B heaven, and it seemed as though there was the potential that they were going to elect to save. The res comes through instead. The showstopper gets popped and shot up with 4 frags on the retake. That is huge. You mentioned it. A little bit of an overzealous showstopper of his own from Mata into the B site. Gangsta gets a free one onto him, but this retake just is so strong from the Immortals. Wow. impressive stuff here from him. And actually, as I say that, I don't think he recovered the operator, Doug. But nevertheless, Chemicals does still have one in hand, so never mind. Doesn't matter.
Dude, he did that with 13 health. Lex,
That's
those
insane,
last two
dude.
kills are 13 health.
First round on the board.
All right, there's that wall, right? There's that wall that we've talked about. It's going to get broken out, but this time Chemicals is still there with the op. He also has a Blade Storm. Also, keep an eye on the Cosmic Divide out of JC Standing. We haven't seen it in this series, and the effects that it can have on a map can be almost indescribable.
Yeah, especially when we're talking about these retake scenarios. Not a lot of opportunity to see some Astra flex here, but still early moments in the round as Andbox is regrouping back towards A main. And if you check your minimap here just for a moment, the rotations are moving over towards B for Immortals because, as you mentioned in the round prior, Doug, Chemicals is being relied on over here to be the sole defender with the operator to call the rotates, to make sure that there's not an overextension early on. And while you may view that as a weakness to some degree, really depends on how he handles it, and he's handling it beautifully. Falls.
No!
Oh man, that is Jet for you. An operator in hand.
And that's going to pull out the rest to equalize things, but if you're Chemicals, you got to be feeling pretty dang good about the shot you just landed. The Rolling Thunder coming out of ice, going to clear things out. It's going to be traded out as well. Both Rolling Thunders being used. Vice and the rest of Andbox are going to work their way onto the site. The spike has been planted, and there's a Cosmic Divide as well. How do they choose to play around this?
So interesting. And so tense here for Ye, knowing the defuse just came through, but there's nothing to be done at that point. Immortals just neatly wraps up that round with a Cosmic Divide, a push into sight, trading the kills out, and a well done from Immortals to seal that one up. You know, and as we were talking about the Chemicals situation, it was a beautiful display as why they leave him on that side of the map. But really, I think, like, you invested a few ultimates into that round, a Rolling Thunder from Rossi, the Cosmic Divide coming out from JC Stanny. And I think only one player was hit by the Rolling Thunder. It really was still looking like a very strong Andbox post plant, but Immortals just absolutely eviscerating them on the retake. Well done. 4-2 now. Not looking nearly as in hand for Andbox as the first 4 rounds led us to believe.
No, by no means. And I think this has been an excellent response from Immortals. But I do want to watch. So they've all stacked up.
Ooh.
Around a Vice, the one exception, and he's not around any longer. They actually boost up over the wall. I was curious to see if they'd wait it out or go over it. They opt to go over it. Ye makes his way up into heaven, is good for one. He's going to get a chance at a second one. Shot up just around the corner, tagged him up. Going to back off while the spike goes down.
There's double players here on the heaven balcony. But Rossi says, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and clear that out. Yay, sprang through our cover. Finding his third of the round of the shot up, and now JC Stanny and Chemicals left alone, 2v3. Pressing into this post plan over here on the A site. Boy alone with supporting teammates from Heaven and Hell, respectively. JC Stanny with his third. Boy and Seb both answers back. And Andbox, think of their 5th, Doug. A decisive round at that. You know, there was a few opportunities there, I think, for that retake to actually, you know, come about for Immortals, but really this play from Ye just silencing the opposition coming in from Heaven. And there's an excellent read there. The wall over, man, that is, they've noticed a few times that Gangsta is dropping that barrier orb and electing to early rotate and leave that side of the map, you know, just kind of unmonitored. And immediately they'd say, okay, we're just going over this thing. We're going to take A, and it works.
And Lex, you think about it as someone who's IGL'd before, you have to respect that now, right? Like, you can't afford to put up the wall and then leave because, you know, they can just as easily wait until you're gone and then boost over like they just did.
Yeah, it's ultimately a test. Oh, there it is. JC Stanny swinging wide, using that Astra utility to force his opponents into some favorable angles. Finds one. But yeah, I mean, that is so interesting to me. That's kind of like the little mind games that teams can have throughout the game. There's no doubt in my mind, as you're kind of alluding to, Doug, that Gangsta's going to think twice before dropping the barrier orb and rotating early. But you know, that wall only able to deter so much without giving away some sound cues. Certainly 4 players with a barrier orb of their own to boost over is terrifying for an witting defender. There's Mata leading the entry up into heaven.
Yeah, no flash coming out there. Vice good with one. Good 4-1 with the frenzy. Numbers advantage in favor of Andbox still. JC Stanny, oh man, I thought he landed another one. It was actually Chemicals who did it, but it doesn't matter. The damage was done. Chemicals gets another one, and what looked so good for Andbox has gone absolutely sideways. Now Seb is left alone in a 1v3. I want to keep this on him. He has the ult as well, but he's just running out of time. 1, 2.
10 seconds left.
Seb in a 1v1. Doesn't have the health advantage. And Chemicals just has to, like, just run away from him, right? Like, he doesn't have the spike. He doesn't have time. What a response from Chemicals. Beautifully played, Lex.
Wow. And that is a thrifty and a half coming out from Immortals, only investing some sheriffs into that round, and they pay off in dividends. I wonder, throughout the rest of this game, Nope is going to elect to buy another Vandal. Boy, surely you learned your lesson. That last, oh my god, oh, tough. With clock ticking here, Seb had little choice, had to kind of press in here, and there's just no shot. 29 HP. Chemicals has the jump, knows the read, knows the angle you're coming from. There it is. Early beam main pressure being applied from Immortals, but Andbox is so willing to just walk through this. No sweat.
I mean,
Look at
fearless.
this read right here. 4 players from Andbox ready to go here, Doug.
All right, here we go. Showstopper out for Mata. The paranoia was there as well, and the wall's been up. So once again, they're going to find themselves in a situation where they're going to have to fight for the retake. Rossi, good for 2. Ye trades him out. The res is going to come up as well. But the thing is, Immortals are so low, right? They only have 2 members left.
Spike planted.
Yeah, this is just not panning out for Immortals. You know what? There's been a few different moments, and we've highlighted each one, Doug, and I would describe it as this. Immortals is being so confident that their game plan is going to work, and I mean that purely based on just confidence in, you know, the mind games that they're rolling out for Andbox, and Andbox is calling their bluff with each and every play. Okay, you're gonna throw a fault line and a smoke over here at B main. Yeah, we don't believe you. We're gonna walk through this, and there's no defenders on site, just 2 players in heaven. You know, Immortals is very willing to rely on this utility to grant them the map control that they basically start with. And instead, Andbox just being 1 step ahead at all times.
And, you know, we're seeing a pause here as both teams kind of mull things over. I think the other thing worth mentioning, Lex, to kind of pile on to what you were saying is, like, you know, we highlighted it, I think it was round 1 or round 2. Immortals, their MO is we're gonna play to retake a B. Right? Like, we're fine, we're comfortable in that situation, and I think it's because of that Andbox goes, oh, you're going to throw a smoke right at the door? That's fine. You're not there, right? Like, we know you're going to be playing retake. We're not worried about that at all.
Like, it's actually... Really, it's working in favor, I think, of Andbox's. We've seen even just a few times where Immortals is able to secure first blood, get up in numbers, and... time and again, we've seen Sage just kind of be the difference maker, being able to throw a res out, being able to hold players off on the retake. And Andbox early on in this round, Doug, pressing at A main. They refuse to be denied.
Well,
Chemicals will fall. Vice pushes forward, and there's just classics, frenzies, Bucky's, you know, standard makeshift thrifty buy here coming out from Immortals, and a few frags are going their way, and now they're in a 3-on-2. Look at what I said. We got a Rolling Thunder coming out as well. Rossi in a 1v1 against Mata, who's just underneath him, and he's gonna drop right on top of him for 4 in the clutch, Doug. Woo.
with the frenzy, bro. With the frenzy.
That's
500
fun.
credits, by the way. 500. That's absolutely insane. He played that so well. The Rolling Thunder was there, and it opened up the sight for him to be able to challenge in that 1v1. Rossi could not have played that better, Lex.
Oh my goodness. My face hurts from smiling. That was ridiculous. And Rossi coming up huge. You know, sometimes you see breach utility just effectively get eaten up by, you know, smoke, start covers, whatever. You have a lot of different chances to mess up your timing, mess up your opportunity with some of his kit. We've already seen mostly a whiff Rolling Thunder in this game, but that one landed and found its mark early and spamming through a smoke. Speaking of, shot up, destroying the face of Mata. over there at B main, and finally you've seen that willingness to contest at B main. Well, you may be calling it Immortals' bluff time. Oh man, I almost said it.
You almost did.
I think I've already said it once here. B main pressure switches towards heaven pressure, and Andbox once again getting stuffed, Doug. This is a big difference from earlier in the game.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head there, Lex. Numbers advantage heavily in favor of Immortals here, and it seems to be going from bad to worse for Andbox. As Vice was good to trade one out, but that's all that's going to be left as Immortals gets to 5. And now, Lex, what are the adjustments, right? Like, what's Immortals doing that's different? What's working now that wasn't working before?
Well, I think kind of what you were talking about earlier with their kind of willingness to make these plays, and we both discussed this different times now, but once you get comfortable on the defense and you're like, okay, well, they're willing to come through B main no matter what. They're willing to go over the barrier orb at A main. You have to set traps beyond those kind of plays, and right there, the late B main aggression, or should I say the late B main defense coming out from, I believe that was shot up, getting that first blood. I think 2 or 3 times now that we've seen Immortals start off strong on a round, or at least not even right away, but finding the first frag seems to be making it so much easier for them to rotate accordingly. And there's 2, maybe 3 players over in B heaven just stuffing that mailroom advance, and that can make all the difference here. And so as far as adjustments, Doug, I think both teams are playing this kind of back and forth extremely well. It's just a matter of management here from Andbox to come up with the last round solution, as they have a broken bye.
Drop the spike.
Well, what I do like about Andbox here is they're showing us something different, right? Also worth noting, Vice, Boy both have ults, right? Ye and Gangster really on the other side are 1 point away from getting theirs. There's a Rolling Thunder. They're going to waltz their way in, and my gosh, JC Staney was there. He was waiting for it. The res is going to come up. Chemicals did use that Blade Storm again. Gangster just 1 point away from getting the res back, but Seb, good for another one. Chemicals with the Blade Storm. 1. Oh my god, what? Second, third. Spike goes down, not able to get the fourth. Mata trades it out a 1v1 for the last round of the half. 22 seconds left. I like that. It was a fake. Mata's still waiting down low. Gangsta doesn't bite, and Gangsta brings the pain down from the top ropes to get the round win for Immortals to close at the half. And what a response, given how it started.
Yeah, and you could just check the scoreboard right there. Yay, clocking in 17 frags to start off with a Battle Sage on attack. That kind of spells, at least through the first 6 rounds or so of this game, where I think it was like 4-2 at one point. Andbox was looking very, very in position to, I don't want to say necessarily carry the half, but putting up 6 rounds was almost an expectation at that point.
Yeah.
So the fact that we've drawn 6 all, not bad. Great adjustments from Immortals, and I think they handled the game plan of Andbox quite well.
Did, and now we're going to see how things look on the other side, as Immortals is going to take a crack at things on attack. You see them all stacked up towards A. It's going to be hot. It's going to be heavy. Very similar wall from what Gangsta was putting up. They're just going to push their way right through. Right? Ye's going to get back onto the site. Left alone here. Now the rotations are coming over, but can he buy enough time? He drops. Mata's here.
Down A.
Spike's been planted. They're starting to creep over. Excuse me, the spike goes down. Now it's been planted. Chemicals in a great spot to blow things up. Spots 1, spots 2, not able to land anything as far as kills go. And Shot Up is left alone, Lex. Certainly a great start. Last Pack's going to push him off. He's just pure survival at this point, trying to react to everything, but Mata's good for 3. The pistol round's going to go in favor of Andbox, and it looks like they're picking up really how they started the first half of this match.
Yeah, I mean, being able to take a pistol, and I don't want to speak too soon, but potentially the eco round and the bonus to follow, you can easily put yourself in a situation here where, time half as they did so previously, it almost becomes an expectation at that point, at the minimum. So I think they're, for Immortals, pressing into A early on, dealing with the barrier orb, dealing with the delay, the rotations came in. They were burnt through most of their utility by the time that spike went down, so even there at the end, you had an opportunity. Maybe Shot Up was able to get an additional frag, reset his pain shells, win a 1v3. It's just a lot to ask, and instead Andbox here collecting the second pistol of the game. So for Immortals, just looking for anything that will be able to be given in this round. Where there's a flash and dash. Chemicals won't get anything for it, but Shot Up will clean it up. Now Vice, a little bit of assistance from Boy and Ye, and that'll be the round. Andbox 8-6 now, Doug. And this is that bonus that we were just talking about.
Yeah, you said had Chemicals in his lap for a moment there as he just dashed right into him. But again, you mentioned how the Spectre really just proved to be too much for them to handle in that moment. So now that those last two rounds go, or that last round anyway, kind of goes as you'd expect. Now we're going to see what Immortals have, as they're going to be on rifles. They're going to be going up against the bonus that you mentioned from Andbox. And for now, it looks like they're cheating towards B for a little bit.
Yeah, and the fact that this is a bonus, you still want to... I mean, actually, as I said, I was about to have a plan or something that you could maybe yield some early results. And as I check the mini-map, there's Ye pressing through a main, finding an unsuspecting JC Stanny. Nice start. Immortals reacting immediately with a B push. Shot Up finds the first. Boy trades it out.
Boy's still on the site, down to 70 health. He's going to drop. Seb has made his way around. What a great spot for Seb. He's good for one. The spike goes down as things drop down to a 2v2. Both remaining players from Immortals are on the site, looking like they're trying to set up a high-low stack back in that B corner.
There.
While Andbox, I mean, they have some options. I like the slow orb. You see the stack up, right? The slow orb on top of the raise nade can be so devastating. Doesn't quite land. The flash, I don't know that it did either. They swing out. Mod is good for one. Rossi trades it out at 1v1. Ye drops as Rossi answers the call again for Immortals, as they're going to get the round win. Yes, it was Andbox's bonus, but if you're Immortals, that feels good, Lex.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're talking about that was a round where you potentially, I don't want to say lose the game, but this is a very manageable attack half ahead of Immortals now, right? But that 2v2, had it gone the other way, you're looking at 9-6 and a huge bank on the defense. You know, when we're split specifically, this map, you allow the defenders to run away with your economy, or vice versa, but it'd be so difficult to crack open sites. We're talking about a 400 credit barrier orb at the beginning of A main every round. That is not a small investment, but one that can have detrimental effects throughout the game. And being able to deny that early income will definitely be a boon in the eyes of Immortal.
You were seeing like some of the mind games again, right? In the previous round, the wall goes up. They actually ride it in and push in aggressively. This time when the wall goes up, they kind of have to linger, right? Like to ensure that there's no more of that early aggression pushing their way through. Immortals has worked their way up the middle of the map. Great flash. Paranoia comes out too. Oh, Seb's just looking for anything he can find. Finally gets one shot up. He's going to use the showstopper. Blast his way in and doesn't get a shot. As Boy's there on the side, hits him with the sucker punch. Rossi trades it out. A 1v2. Ye's left alone. He's got health. He's got a rifle. So he's got a chance at something here. This is certainly winnable for Ye. Is it out? Ye's been spotted. Drops down now. He does have that heal. Now you're seeing some of that Asher utility. And again, that high-low stack Lex can be so hard to deal with, as it doesn't look like Ye's able to handle it either. JC Stanley trades out the kill. We're tied up at 8 apiece.
Wow, man. Like that was the scrappiest fight that I've seen all day over there at Mail and Be Heaven. Just so much utility going off. You even have a showstopper that just gets nothing. Frenzy frag in the middle of a tailwind. There was just a lot going on right there, and I am just so surprised that Immortals came away with the round win, despite the fact that, at one point it looked like they were almost throwing away the round going up there into Be Heaven. Now you got a few sheriffs on the side of Andbox, you've got a few Buckies, and as we were talking about in the first half, Doug, this is absolutely something where you want to be careful with. Take the appropriate precautions, and a flashpoint from Breach will certainly be the starting of that. They're able to trade it out, and Immortals just rapid fire, one frag after another. Well, as I say that, Modifines 2, but the B split does come through.
Yeah, you can. This one's a tough one. Seb's alone. He's got a Bucky, really, and I mean you go for it because there's really no reason not to at this point. But You imagine this round will likely go in favor of Immortals, as you kind of expect it to, given the weapons that they brought into this round. Seb just gets cleaned up. A nice 3K for Gangsta as Immortals take the lead. And, like, you know, we take a look at some of the stats, and Lex, it's not like you've got one player who's just putting the team on his back, right? Like, there's nobody that's popping off. It really is. It's not sexy, it's not flashy, but it's fundamental for Immortals, and it's working. It's gotten them this far.
Absolutely. I think, you know, even insofar as just like making a general team analysis, and this could be said about a lot of the top teams in this game right now, their efficiency trading, just being able to make sure that a teammate is there with you when you're making a play, or you're being supported by utility, can make all the difference in the world when it comes to just being able to secure these rounds. And, you know, as a testament to how close this game is in the scoreboard, well, you know, that frag count is close for a reason. Seemingly every time that Immortals is pushed into a corner where, you know, perhaps this is going to be a situation or a round they might lose, you know, they're able to bounce back and push these 2v2s, these 3v3s down to the wire, and they're coming out on top more often than not. So into this 10th round now, a full buy for both teams, though we do have a stinger on Chemicals. Blade Storm certainly active, but...
Right. I think the other thing to keep in mind here, if you're Immortals, you've got the Rolling Thunder, you've got the Cosmic Divide, you have tools at your disposal to get you onto the site. The problem is Andbox has plenty of those as well. They've got a Rolling Thunder of their own. They've got a Res from the shadows. There are so many different options here. This could prove to be a very electric round. Immortals, with 30 seconds left, have now made their way over towards 8. There's that Cosmic Divide that we were talking about. Flash comes out. It's a decent spot. The From the Shadows is going to come out as well. Seb on the site. Chemicals with the Blade Storm. Good for one. Seb not able to anchor anything down either. 3v3 here.
Spike is here.
There's that Rolling Thunder. And the problem is, Lex, that Spike is in a brutal spot. They can't get anywhere near it. They can just squat on it here. And with 9 seconds left, they've got to go. They've got to go now. I don't think they're going to have time. Things went absolutely sideways there for Immortals, and Andbox take the round away.
What a wild outcome to what looked like a beautiful play call from Immortals. They basically step up to the plate at A main. The Cosmic Divide comes out. All they've done throughout this round is basically wait out this barrier orb at A main. And instead, Andbox, I believe they had to have had a game plan with how to retake A there, and just a quick A ramp, you know, being able to push into A ramp, deny all of that territory. No, hey, there's a spike too for our efforts. Well, 10 seconds left on the clock. Got a whole lot there for anyone Immortals to be able to do. Another buy will be coming out for them, so not all is lost. But yay, with a paddle sage right off the brink with a backup from Seb, means it's a 5-on-3 to start here on Split. That is a devastating push there from Andbox, as Immortals just, did not suspect there'd be two.
No, and Lex, like that's icing on the cake, right? Like, if you push in that aggressively, well, oh my gosh, hang on. Mod is good for 2. Excellent spray transfer. Now I'll be able to get the 3rd. The spike is still down over on the back of the site. They weren't even playing for it as Andbox, excuse me, just stuff Immortals, and they don't have any room to work with. They aren't able to get anything going, and Andbox take the lead.
Man, Andbox is looking so good. Just the confidence from Ye with the backup from Seb. You know, I was just giving praise towards Immortals for their ability to trade well. Andbox is prepared for that second player to swing off contact, and Seb finds the second one. That's almost the more impressive frag to me at that point, considering Ye was catching JC standing caught unawares. But an early A push surely to come here from Immortals. All 5 players poised. There it is. Showstopper from Shot Up.
Oh, Seb! Seb's in a great spot. He reads that like a book, knows the showstopper is going to come flying across, hangs on to that 50, doesn't get challenged at all, and punishes it off the board. They didn't bring much as far as guns go into that round, but man, what an answer from Andbox. I know, Immortals they didn't really have rifles, but Andbox played that beautifully.
And that is Ye's 29th frag on the round. He finds, it was 3 in that round, but I'm really impressed by the ability of Ye and Seb over here at the A site, where no matter which kind of push they're up against, they seem to be playing together, you know, in sync with each other. I mean, That was almost Ye baiting out that showstopper, bunny hopping towards the back of the site.
Here.
And Seb's just there, ready to bail him out. And they just go back and forth each time. Fault line early on here over at B main means Vice finding the first on the chemicals. That point does come out, so he'll be cleaned up immediately. Now it's 4 is all. We're dropping the dark cover, retreating back towards the B site. Orb gets collected by Gangsta, and the res should come out, and that's a beautiful play call here from Immortals.
It really is, but it's like Andbox are feeling themselves. You've got to be responsive here for Immortals, because the confidence with which Andbox are starting to play can be terrifying. Immortals have to step up here, and so far so good, right? They're finding themselves in a 5v2. This round certainly seems to be going their way, but I cannot stress the importance of the performance that was needed out of Immortals in this round specifically, especially because of how Andbox opened the round.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, and I think we saw shades of this in the first half when Immortals was on defense, where back and forth they went, showing aggression on both mains, being able to fight out mid. And Immortals, I think, has just been caught off balance a bit a few times in the past 2 or 3 prior rounds. And there they finally answer appropriately, where I think the first frag didn't even go their way, but their response to it, especially with JC standing over here today, just kind of solo locking things out.
Yep.
Kind of speaks to what you were getting at, Doug, where definitely you see the confidence from Andbox, how aggressively they're willing to take the fights to Immortals, where they haven't necessarily seemed ready for it. And here we are, 11-10 in round 22 of the game, where neither team, I mean, you just saw a bunch of utility come out from Immortals to make sure that this B main push is kosher, and now they've earned it. They've taken B main control. They're passively sitting outside A main. And this just kind of speaks to what we were getting at, where both of these teams are kind of playing this cat and mouse at the mains, where you show us aggression, we'll trade out efficiently with our utility, and vice versa. Sometimes the players aren't even there to for the contest, or at least put up a fight.
Now, we haven't seen a ton of this, right? Where Immortals take the middle of the map. They're going to clear out anyone potentially playing in vents. There's still a tripwire there, so they know nobody's pushed their way through that. Andbox does it, so they know that area is safe. Immortals pulling off and rotating back towards B, right into where Mata is with the showstopper.
30 seconds
but the
left.
thing is, yeah, Rossi has the Rolling Thunder. There it is. It's going to roll things out. The dash comes out. There's Mata with the showstopper waiting on the other side of the smoke. Not really able to see anything, but there it is. It doesn't land at all. It doesn't connect onto anything, but somehow, through that, Immortals still managed to walk away with the numbers advantage. Ye and Seb left alone.
10 seconds left.
The wall goes up. The spike goes down. And Lex, this does not look good.
No, it does not. Ooh. A nice snap headshot on a shot up from Seb. Seb and Ye, who have just had this dynamic duo. The chem between these two players cannot be stressed enough. Gangsta holds strong, though. That flashpoint from Breach forcing back Seb means an unlikely 1v3 for him. Immortals tying it all at 11. And I think, really, the penultimate moment there before that B exec even came through was Rossi catching 2 players in B with the Rolling Thunder. There's a 3-player stack there, and it didn't matter. 2 of them effectively knocked out of the fight before it even started, and I'm really shocked that the showstopper from Mata, who basically ignores Chemicals, who had tailwinded into the back of site. I think he threw out an updraft and was just not a target at all. Or the rocket just didn't hit anything. There may have been some damage, but I was expecting a 3K at that point. And early paint shells.
Here.
And it's not just the paint shells, right? It was a paint shell
Paired up with
in
Astra,
conjunction, yes, with the gravity wall. That's beautiful. Love to see some of that early synergy on the new agent. They start to try to cook something up. And again, why not, right? Like, how many times have you seen Ye go in, put the wall up, and then he either rides it or backs off? A great bit of early damage used there, or excuse me, applied there to try to give them an advantage in this ever-important round, tied up 11-11 here, as Immortals try to find their way in towards the site. Again, you've got trap wires in the vents going towards A. You've got something going in towards A, B heaven as well. They've given them the middle of the map, but that's because they know they can't go anywhere else without them knowing.
Yeah, I think this really just comes down to if Immortals decides to bide their time, you know, stay spread for the next 10 or 15 seconds before mounting. This may be an A split, actually, from the looks of it.
I think it is. And they've got the Cosmic Divide.
Does Andbox get the rotations right here in this moment? Because they just walled into B.
30 seconds left.
Trying to draw that rotation over, and actually, as I say that, Vice, second-guessing himself, comes back towards A. Heaven and Ye holds fast at top of A ramp. Chemicals finds both. So now this is a 4-on-3 retake for Andbox.
And JC Staney was the only casualty in that situation. Well played by Immortals. They're going to get the spike down just in the nick of time. And I like this from Chemicals, right? Like going in aggressively, taking away more space where the defenders could be coming in from, but he's going to get paranoid, and it doesn't matter. Chemicals gets the best of him anyway. Shot up good for another one as well. Tees it up with the second. Immortals at map point.
Yeah, and that's a huge round from Chemicals, finding the entries up towards the top of A ramp and A heaven. You know, each of those players was in a pretty dominant position to stop not only his push, but his teammates as well. And that rope split, as I mentioned, there was a very soft fake from Gangsta over there at B main. It was just enough to make Vice step out of position, and that's all that really mattered. You know, once you had given up your rope angles, there was just no way you're going to defend that and save Ye in the same, 5-second span. And instead of potentially shutting it all down and using that utility to make sure that not only does his teammate live, but you delay that push just a moment or two longer for the rotates to come in. Instead, now Immortals 12-11, you said on map point. And they've been playing this kind of patient attack side on split here for every round of this half, seemingly, but the few fast pushes that they've thrown out there, Andbox have handled them so well. It's no wonder that they've defaulted almost back towards this slow, methodical regroup towards a site style, and they take this early vent and rope control, and that is, as again, just kind of manipulating the rotations from Andbox, but nothing of it yet.
Just enough to make him think about it, right? Like what we just saw in the previous round, Astra was still playing towards A as well, so it's just enough to make him think about it. But their intentions are to work their way towards B. You see Chemicals is still playing over around the middle of the map. They're going to work their way into 3 members of Andbox that are playing on B site. The problem is they're light on armor. They don't all have armor. There's the Cosmic Divide coming as well. Shot up, going in with the showstopper. Lands good for 1. Numbers advantage. Really not going any which way. As a couple of kills are coming out for Immortals, they might be able to put this thing away right here, right now. Vice with just 9 health. Looking to do something. Seb is healthy as well. Vice drops. Seb left alone in a 1v3. A Blade Storm on the other side as well. Seb, what kind of magic do you have in you? What can you whip up? There's that high-low stack in the corner as well, and you don't even get to see the devastating effects.
You don't necessarily have the same depth. You're not rocking a new Astra agent. Not as much mystery going on, but an early B main presence here from Immortals. A little bit towards mid, but I don't imagine with a naked side of the map over towards A. This will eventually end B, Doug.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. They're taking the middle of the map. The wall's gone up, but look at how much space Immortals have taken. The gravity was going to be used. Nice shot out of Ye to take care of JC Staney early on. Immortals looking to try to get onto the B site, but the problem is Andbox has 2 players anchored on there, and I say it's a problem, and it seems to be paying off. Chemicals trying to keep the round alive here. He's going to get flashed up. He's still going to land the shots. How does he do it? 24 health left, not enough to get the rest of it. Vice is the one who, through that chaos, is the last one standing. Andbox won the pistol.
That is just playing the angles perfectly from Ye. You see this first headshot come out, and even 15 seconds, 16 seconds, almost 20 seconds worth of time has just been bought by Ye surviving on the side. He finds that second frag, and Andbox just bleeding away the opposition. War of attrition occurring there as one by one the members of Immortals do fall before they're able to put this spike down. So an extremely late buy in round 2 here for Immortals. Sandbox takes round 1, which they are 2 for 2, make that 3 for 3 in pistols here today, Doug.
Yep.
That'll help.
Yep, that certainly will add up. Immortals here leaning heavy towards A this time around. seems like they've gotten onto the site with ease, right? Like they should be able to get the wall down. Shooting into the Astra smoke, they're going to get the spike down. It's gritty, but they've done it. Now it's on Immortals with the gun advantage. What can they do to take it back? This is not a done deal, Lex.
Not at all, but the pistols are just always pressed into these weird fights. You got a little bit of a classic burst coming off. 1-2 frags for Immortals, and now it's just Rossi maintaining his position over here towards Hell. Finds another one, but a little bit of a costly retake there for Andbox, but nevertheless, 2 will live. Get that early res here for Sage. He's just 1 off now from being able to do that, so we move into this bonus here for Andbox. You don't necessarily have an initiation ultimate to work with. Don't have anything where you're going to be able to open rounds with it, but certainly potentially finishing them. That res may come into play. And
you know, I think, Lex, one thing to point out is, yay, again, right? Like, 2 rounds in, he's already at 4-1, and this was the pace with which he played in the previous map. That's what led to his 30 bomb. So if he's able to continue these kind of numbers, I mean, this very well might go down to the wire, much like we saw in Split.
Absolutely. I think Andbox is a team that's going to lean heavily on him no matter what agent he's playing, map it's on, composition that they're running. It's just that kind of a player, and we'll look to the other players on this roster. Actually, as I say that, JC Stanley taking a brawl over there at mid, finding 2 of 3. Mata still lives. Drops that curveball. Hot hands to follow.
That hurts. Yeah, that doesn't feel good, man. Chemicals cleaning that up, as you said. Gravity well, Vice managing to get away. And the thing is, Immortals have a free site. Like, so there is a good bit of utility that they're going to have to walk through to get onto A. So Vice may be able to impede things at least for a little while. There it is. The Nanoswarm's going to come out, but they're just going to wait it out, right? Meanwhile, if you're EA, you've got to bust it over to A here as soon as you can. Vice is just trying to stay alive and not able to do so. Just getting peppered everywhere. Ye alone here. He's going to drop, not able to put up those heroics or not able to continue those. At least, so Immortals are going to get onto the board, or get on the board, excuse me. And Andbox now, they should have a good bit to work with. Now we're going to see both these teams from a relative position of strength.
Yeah, and they do have the Cosmic Divide to work with, so having that on Rossi and then kind of an execute here for Immortals will be strong. You got to run it back on Mata. So, interesting to see what they do with it here, Cosmic Divide that is, or whether or not they even try and execute with it in this round, as they're spreading out of the default to start. 2 players at each main. A little bit of damage into the face of Gangsta from a shock dart. Mata will run it back immediately at A main for the information. A little bit of an A main contest, and he quickly gets sent back to his body.
Yeah, not getting very much there at all, Lex. He may have spotted one player, but even then, that's not the spike. They didn't get a ton of other information other than that. It's just not a very fruitful run back.
Yeah, the Immortals lucky to get away with that there, and you do tempted to grab that orb and get his lid from with JC Stanley, realizing that there's not a whole lot of use for that at the moment with a Phantom in hand, but that Cosmic Divide may be coming out here in just a moment as Rossi and a few other Immortal players are regrouping towards A main, and there are 3 players from Andbox awaiting them here.
Here we go.
Turret's destroyed.
Turret's going to spot one. Vice playing tight. The paranoia comes out. See if he can deliver anything with that Bucky, waiting patiently. And my gosh, he doesn't have to, right? Seb's there, good for 2. They can continue to just hold this cross, not let anyone in. With 26 seconds left, they've got to commit to A. Like, they don't have a choice. The Cosmic Divide goes up. That's going to buy them a little bit of space, but they're going to have to push their way through that. Gangsta trying to blast his way through. Catch one. The flash is going to come out. Ye's going to get the res on, but things just absolutely get shredded apart for Immortals.
Didn't even look close. They didn't even get close to leaving A main at that point. You know, we quickly highlighted it just before the execute came in that there was 3 players there waiting that push from Immortals. But really, and this kind of goes back to Split as well, I am always so impressed at Seb's ability to anchor sites. You know, a lot of the time he's taking first contact or playing off a teammate and setting his teammates up to succeed. But right there, just immediately, you know, rocking a crouch spraying Phantom over there at the front of Generator finds 2 heads. And it's like, okay, both your entries are down. You got 30 seconds left. What next?
Oh, wow. Casey Stanley dropping instantly. He had the Blade Storm, right? And it's just instantly nullified.
I love it.
Yay, already good for 2. Again, padding the stats even more. He's going to drop a numbers advantage for Andbox.
You should run.
I love seeing Sage on this map for that exact reason. Get to that in a second as the Killjoy ult does come out.
way.
Boy has shock darts onto it. He does not get it though.
Oh.
Actually, as I say that, Seb does hit from the shadows deep into the spawn to at least silence it before it goes
They're
off.
trapped. Lex, they're trapped. They have nowhere to go. The only option is to get into B, right? And the spike hasn't even followed. Yeah, there are smokes blocking off market, but they're going to be able to pinch in from a couple of different sides. This has to be like a Defense of the Alamo type performance out of Immortals to try to keep them off of B because they're going to be coming right at them. No ultimates in mind for the rest of this round. Just a straight up 3v3. Decent health bars across the board. What can Andbox do to take this back? Seb already good for 1. Rossi in a great spot to get 3.
And the enemy was
What a play!
That's beautiful right there. And, you know, they couldn't have known this, but you were saying it succinctly, Doug, where for Andbox on this retake, there was a moment where it really didn't even seem like the spike could go down. There was no way that they could even get it into the site, and yet Andbox being pushed back, just missing that timing window for just a few moments for Rossi to bring that spike into the site. And there it is, cleaning up with 3 on the round. Well played to him. But I'm beyond impressed by Andbox's ability to get it to that point. Immortals answering back. You know, I would describe that as a strong answer, but really, I mean, it did not look clean for a vast portion of that round at all.
But you know, Lex, it's a lot like Split, right? Like, there were moments where it was scrappy, but they walked away with the dub and the ability to play through those scrappy moments where it's not always pretty, but you're getting what you need. That's money right there. They dash onto the site. The Reyna Lear is going to be there as well to pave the way, as it looks like Immortals, they've gotten really everything they want onto A. They're going to be able to waltz their way in. Yay. Man, Yay doesn't even get a chance. Clean shots out of Gangstas. He's got 3 on the round. Vice left alone. And, dog, I don't know that I would want this if I were Vice.
No, not at all. And I think I touched on this a little bit when we were talking about Split. But Immortals, like, this team, when they're hitting a site, they are working it with 3 or 4 players minimum. They do run splits. They do put themselves in situations to have lurkers, kind of traditional style play. But the way that they move as a unit, press into a site, they're all matching each other's tempo. The pace at which they push in, it allows for those kind of layered frags to come through where always over peeking a little bit. I think that was at Heaven, eating a couple shock darts, you know, trying to play the edge of the wall over there. Just nobody's at risk, right? When you have that utility deployed first. You're waiting for your teammates to kind of create that space for you and eliminate those angles for the defenders. And frequently you see Immortals capitalizing on it and not just being able to force them back, but, you know, we saw 3 kills coming out from Gangsta there, and oh my goodness, this Bucky, this Sheriff. Immortals, who have dominated this A main kind of bout throughout this half thus far, immediately get shut down with some nice shots.
It almost went worse there, right? As Ye almost got another one. What is happening? Lex, it was Sheriffs and a Bucky across the board going into 5 rifles, and they find themselves late in the round with the numbers advantage. The thing is, Immortals have managed to pick up the spike. They're going to hightail it over towards B, and it's going to be free. There's no one there. And Gangsta's got the Hunter's Fury. So if they can get the spike down, Gangsta get to a place of safety, they can really take this, they can take this round away. But that's so much easier said than done, right? At this point, you get the spike down, you assume there's pressure coming in at you, and you run the risk on, like, do I try to slip away here, or am I stuck?
I wouldn't be surprised if he plays the Hunter's Fury off the information from the turret when it makes contact, but Andbox wisely, or maybe unwittingly, we'll find out here in a moment, but they're electing to move as a unit. And ultimately, it is going to avoid, for the most part, 1 tag coming out from the Hunter's Fury, but the retake is on now. Doug, 3-on-2.
Now, the rest of the members of Andbox did manage to pick up rifles. Chemicals, baby. 4. Give him the ace. He's in a 1v1. He's got a chance for it. Ice creeping around. Chemicals, good for it. He gets the ace, and they get the round.
Let's go, man. What a round there from Immortals. I mean, and this is kind of 2 or 3 times we've seen this from Andbox, Doug, where they open things up so strongly. Okay. And over here at A main and mid, Yay just taking a raw sheriff duel against Rossi. Several players actually admit he's whiffing on. Finds the face of Rossi. Chemicals closes out the round with a 5-piece. Oh, you love to see it. But I think this is kind of the story of this game so far is Andbox, not too unlike Split, as we keep saying. They're finding their early kills. They're putting themselves in a position to win. And the follow-through is just sometimes not there. And yet, you know, Yay has been dominating B main throughout this entire game. It hasn't really mattered. The A main duel is where a lot of the action has come through, and Immortals almost every time has won it. Last round being the exception.
And Dog, let's be honest, right? Like, if I know Ye's playing at B, and I know I'm going into a dude he's feeling himself right now, and there's a wall all the time, shoot, I'd push away from that too. Right? Like, I'm not going anywhere near that.
Those slow orbs make you think twice about wide swinging a Sage. Say that right now.
Right here.
All right, so Andbox have managed to get to at least as many rounds as Cloud9 did against Immortals. But now, we'll see what more they can get going. Immortals already have dropped. JC Stanley, the Cosmic Divide could be coming out here from Rossi as they're setting it up. There it is. Now, that's going to block things off from Market and from CT, but there are a couple of members that are anchored in on B. The Hunter Fury is going to come out. That's going to destroy Lockdown. Meanwhile, a counter has been used. Shot up looking for something. He gets nothing. Right? He gets nothing with the Empress. There are 2 players detained. Seb, good for 1. My gosh, things went so sideways for Immortals.
Yeah, 2 players getting detained there at the end. Like, I don't know. There was at no point any hope for Immortals to get on the site and put that spike down, and yet, you know, up until the point the Cosmic Divide gets deployed, it really looked like it was Immortals out positioning Andbox, and instead 4-all now. And you're still gonna get a mostly full buy here from Immortals. You do see a Bulldog and light armor on a few players, but nevertheless, you're gonna get a buy out of them. So not all is lost here, but looking at the other side of the table, you do have From the Shadows and a Resurrection, but you do have that Run It Back from Mata. Hasn't yielded results yet in this matchup, but look at that here in this round, Doug.
Right there.
Well, it's a bit more forward than where we saw him use it last time. They've already taken a good bit of a long control. Meanwhile, Immortals once again just happy to take away the middle of the map, right? Like, they're just going to push their way in. A great response from Seb, and somehow manages to stay alive. Looking to use some fancy footwork to get out of a tricky situation, but no, Rossi wise to it, cleans him up. There's the Run It Back. Mata again, a chance. He got some info there, much more than he got the previous time. Much more valuable, but not landing any kills. A couple of members very weak on the side of Immortals. Mata, he's not going to get bested twice in that situation by Gangsta. Gets the kill. Rossi gets the spike down. A 3v3 and a couple of members on the side of Andbox tattered as Seb joins the fold again. The thing is, with that comes information, right? Like, you know where that player died, so you know where the res is, you know where Ye is as well. JC Stanley wise to it, cleans him up. A 3v2 here in favor of Immortals. Despite continuing to tick away. Good flash, but Shadow just backs up, right? JC Stanley with 6 health left can prove to be bait, but what? Mata's good for 3. Shot up. Has to go big here. He has to tank. Oh my gosh, shut up! Tanks the hot hands into the smokes, stops the defuse. What a play!
Ping bomb for me. Okay, thank you. Got it.
My gosh!
He looks so cool in this situation, just so calm, just knowing, okay, I gotta walk through this hot hands and do sidewalk, shoot through this turret, no big deal, and we'll handle it. 7 seconds of the defuse, doesn't matter, we're good. Immortals, by the skin of their teeth, and a 1v2 from Shot Up in what should have been a clean 3-on-2 post plant. The flame wall from Mata just being able to come in, kill 3, almost sticks to defuse. That's heartbreaking if you're an Andbox fan.
Jeez, man.
Early,
Okay.
early main control here for Immortals. Barrier orb gets deployed, but immediately shot down from them.
Yeah, and this is a bit of a different look than we've seen in the past, right, Lex? They've taken all of this A-long control. You see Modest just on the other side of the smoke. He's going to play off a bit. They've got good presence on the site. But the problem is, yeah, if they get tree room, that's huge. They've taken tree room. The paranoia comes out. It's not going to delay anything. A set drops as well. The remaining two members on the side of Andbox, on the opposite side of the map, they're going to rotate. By the time they get here, maybe too little too late. And boy's got a Bucky.
Boy's got a Bucky. Yeah, this is definitely not a situation for Andbox to just turn around and somehow retake this round. Probably not going to happen. Considering this is now, we're poised on potentially a 6-4 for Immortals. You know, this Phantom in the hands of Vice, and yeah, he's already backed off towards mid. It's not as easy to part ways with when we're potentially looking at losing a half, being forced to eco. He will do his best to hold for exits a lot of this Phantom. If possible, JC Standing will deny that, and so Immortals, who lost the pistol going into this half, haven't won one yet today, finally able to at least be putting themselves in a situation where they could win a half decisively. Potentially looking at an 8-4, considering they just forced Andbox back onto an economic crisis, a potential thrifty round here. And you know what? As I say that, the previous thrifty round for Andbox, I described it as a thrifty because, I mean, they didn't win. They didn't win the round, but there was at least 3 opening frags that really were scary for Immortals when they're slowly working this anti-eco here in round 11.
They've shown what they can do with Sheriffs. Very similar. We'll see if they can replicate some of that same success, some of that magic that they had last time. Yep. All right. So far, so good. Mata good for one. Good flash. Understanding where that pressure's coming in from. But there it is. There are those rifles. No way!
Yeah.
No way! Again?
This is what I'm saying, man. I don't know, but somehow Andbox looks far scarier on these rounds where they have no money. It's just massacre.
Just by Sheriffs the rest of the map.
For real, man.
In the half.
Joking, but like the brazenness of these peaks where they're just like, yeah, the smoke's gone. Let's just go ahead and swing. And actually, they had a nice crossfire going here with Mata kind of being the bait, but yay, bailing him out. Just being backed up by Boy to follow. Just beautiful kills. And Immortals has got to be kicking themselves here.
Well, yeah, and like you think about financially, well, ultimately this being the last round of the half, but they were able to take 3 rifles into the next round, right? So we'll see what they can play out here. I like this out of Immortals early on, just full send. The Blade Storm comes out, wall goes up, all across the board. Nice shots out of JC Standing, showing just why he can play that jet.
Despite knowing how hurt he was, this Killjoy ult, Blade Storm, the Hunter's Fury, everything getting busted out here on the entry of Immortals into this site. Shot up even with an aggressive Heaven play, finding one on the Seb. Still one more blind left.
So they had to respect the lockdown because they didn't have a counter for it. But now that it's gone down, now they're going to creep in. But the problem is so much space has already been taken away. Mata with the run it back. Good for one. Gets traded out instantly. The thing is, they have a decent idea of where they are. The flash through the wall, not going to be good. Gangsta cleans him up. One left. It's Vice. Not around for long. A 3K from shot up. Immortals take the half 7-5.
Valiant effort there near the end from Mata to at least attempt that retake. A rough half, I'd say, in all from Andbox, considering how well they started. You win pistol, you win second round. Didn't win the bonus, but still put themselves in, I think, with a 3-1 lead. Much akin to the likes of Split in the prior map, and yet 7-5 half Immortals, like I said, decisively taking the half here.
All right, and now Andbox, they've got to figure something out here, right? 7-5, they're down, but now they're going to be in a position where they can dictate the pace a bit more, right? Like, they can decide where they want to apply pressure on the map and at what times. And we've seen, we saw it in the previous map when Andbox are playing from a place of confidence. the swagger's there, right? And Immortals had a hard time dealing with that for a good bit of split, to where it almost went Andbox's way.
Early mid pressure here on this pistol. Andbox, who have been flawless on pistols so far today, Seb with 2 huge frenzy frags to start things out. That's going to do well for prospects of Andbox in this round, is already Immortals being forced back to defender spawn, forced to retake, forced to give up market. Mata dueling with Rossi. And this is the hottest pizza joint in town as he has to bail out of that one.
Chemicals is going to drop as well. Clean shots at EA with the Ghost. Gangsta in a 1v5. A flawless round win from Andboxes. That's every pistol so far.
It's not even a meme, dude. They don't need pistol rounds. They're gonna win them. Eco rounds, when you're only using sheriffs and pistols, you're gonna win them. And that's just dude. You know what? Play to your strengths. Andbox doing it delightfully. We love to see it. 7-6 now, and Immortals back onto a broken bye.
Yeah, but Lex, like, we've seen Andbox win every pistol. And then everyone they find them, or almost everyone they find themselves in. But Immortals win everything else, right? Like,
true.
You feel some great response there from Mata. You feel some of the pressure, or you normally would feel some of the pressure of going, dude, we're losing every single pistol, right? Like, when there are only 12 rounds and a half, that doesn't feel good. But Immortals seem to handle it just fine.
Dude, look at the way Andbox is even carrying their utility into this round. They have a ghost, and a frenzy, because that's just how they roll, man.
Yeah.
And they're doing it wonderfully.
It's not the ghosts.
Yeah, it's just the Spectre kind of farming here, but the confidence, I think, that counts.
It is. Mata just 2 points away from having to run it back online. Closest to having that ultimate on the side of Andbox. Meanwhile, JC Stanley's left alone. He's got a Bucky, right? And that's always fun, unless you're on the receiving end of said Bucky.
Gun here.
But there's a potential for a little something like that, right? Good for one. Cloudburst tries to get a second, but it's the pistol, no less.
You know what? I would have been upset.
The round win for Andbox.
I would have been upset if he came away with the second frag there, but you know what? Valiant effort there, JC Stanley. 7's all, and this is really, you know, I think it may have been the first half of Split, Doug, where Andbox won pistol and the bonus, and I think that was the starting point to them having like a strong half. And I hate to always do this, but a little cliche here. Really, this may be the most important thing here for Andbox carrying out the rest of this half, where economically speaking, you know, winning a bonus, especially when you're on the attack side of a map like Ascent, where you're able to get these SMGs up close and personal. I say SMGs, like, you got Frenzy and a Phantom in play, but it'll really be the test of Immortals just able to handle and execute from Andbox.
Thanks to firing through. There are plenty of folks on the other side of that wall. And they seem to be wise to it. The spike's going to pull off. Some damage was dealt. Mata's going to walk away with just 2 arm left. Certainly not as much health as he walked in. See how they choose to play this. They have some presence over towards A. The middle of the map is open, and the thing is, Shot Up knows that, right? Like, he understands there's no pressure coming in from there. How will they play this out?
I think they were going for maybe a raw gunfight, a Phantom on Ye early on at B main, and obviously he lost it. And even, you know, Mata to some degree not being able to recontest that, being forced back by the likes of the Odin, the drone, the Dart. All those things kind of compile where, okay, we're just going to need to regroup, hit a site together, and here they are towards A. Dart cover goes out.
They should have a decent idea of where that's coming in from. You see Seb is already tagged up pretty heavily. The gravity well at the entrance to the site is so good for delaying things because you've got 10 seconds, right? You've got to go now. It looks like they should be able to get the spike down. There it is, but now they have to fight to keep control, and my gosh, things don't look good for Andbox. Boy was alone. Immortals. See, the thing is, Lex, there was no time for really them to settle and get anything going, and also the space that they took across B, the knowledge that they had across the middle of the map really telegraphs that that's where the hit's going to be, so they're able to respond quickly. They're able to stuff the push and take that back almost as quickly as they gave it up.
Oh yeah, and I think that was shot up over there in A heaven. Just the amount of damage that came out from that one magazine spray from the Phantom. Just 3 players immediately on 40 HP or less.
Yeah, Seb got messed up.
Huge amount. Oh yeah, and all 3 of those players are suddenly unwilling to peek, unwilling to take the crossfire, knowing that okay, let me regroup, reset. I gotta play scared a little bit because I'm low HP, and virtually nobody on the side of Andbox is in any sort of position, as you mentioned, to mount a defense there. They're all uncomfortable. They are all being pushed into the corners, to the enclave, so to speak, and ultimately to their doom. As you know, early on, actually, we see B main being okay. I say yielded, but shot up re-peaks it immediately. But sensing the B pressure early, 3 players from Immortals towards B. Yet the play hasn't really been decided yet from the side of Andbox.
Interesting. JC Stanley opting to use the Blade Storm with the rifle on a rifle round. It doesn't net anything early on. I believe he has two blades left. So we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, pressure, heavy pressure over towards A. The curveball is going to work their way towards tree. The gravity well was there. Rossi good for 1. Chemicals traded out. Oh man, Rossi's just so good in that spot, right? Ye's taken off the board as well. The spike still hasn't made its way onto the site. Meanwhile, everyone on the side of Immortals is here. Andbox is just gonna have to fight their way through, and that's exactly what they're doing as Vice and Boy get 1 apiece. Gangsta mows down Boy as Vice is left alone. He's in a brutal spot, getting shot at from both sides. Literally a rock and a hard place. Vice cleans him up, Gangsta cleans him up. Immortals take a 2-round lead.
Wow. Obviously the observer just caught all of that, so I'll just rehash it for chat.
Shout out.
How
to
impressive was this defense from Rossi, man? I mean, not only are you drawing out a whole bunch of utility to deal with you in particular, but coming away with 2 frags where there's not even a single point of damage being retaliated against you. Through a dark cover. Just impressive stuff there, and pure confidence too. To step into the dark cover, spray towards the corner, and come away with 1. That's off to him. 9-7 now. Immortals, you know, ahead by 2 for probably first time in a while, but actually, as a halftime score, you were also up by 2. So never mind. Forget that, Castor. What are you talking about? we got a drone early on. Al drone coming through B main again. And actually, there's no button budget because they do have a mid setup between JC, Stanley, and Rossi. It seems as though Andbox knows that when they make this B main control happen, that they're drawing rotations from Immortals and securing a lot of map control elsewhere.
Well,
but they've switched up the spots, Doug.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, Lex, I think the thing is too is Immortals is not fighting for B lobby control, right? Like they were willing to give that up. You saw the Nanostorm on top of the Astra Star. That's generally a good combo for a Gravity Well with the Nanoswarm, which is really, I mean, absolutely brutalizes you. Entry into that site, and Andbox wise to it. Boy uses the shock dart to clear out where that Nanoswarm was, so that's not a factor anymore. They clear out that utility, and now they're going back towards A.
Right, and I think because they've sensed the Killjoy has swapped sites.
30 seconds left.
You got to figure at some point their opening's got to be on the other side of the map, and as we're moving into this execute, the Killjoy execute comes out here, Doug.
Yeah, and Boy just got himself Hunter's Fury as well. See Rossi not in the same spot he was last time. No heroics from there. There's no counter to the lockdown. So it's going to go off with 10 seconds. We've got to get the spike down, right? Then you had to respect it, but here comes the Hunter's Fury. Rossi good for 1. He's not in tree, but he's still getting the damage that his team needs. Boy, buying himself some time, fending off members as they try to retake the site. Nothing doing quite yet. Andbox has already dropped 1. Yay, evening things out. Shot up with the Empress is just causing so many problems, so many fits, and the thing is, the spike's just gonna continue to tick away, so they've gotta go. Right, Vice left alone is such a good retake from Immortals, Lex. That was beautiful.
That was a beautiful retake, but I will highlight a misstep, I think, from Andbox on a few levels. Just everybody's fumbling their utility. That hot hands went to nowhere. You had the Hunter's Fury collecting absolutely 0 tags and 0 info as the entirety of the Immortals retake basically was coming out of heaven. So you figure either of those pieces of utility are where they need to be, and I didn't see who the rest of the team was rocking, but You gotta figure it was just way too easy for Immortals to walk across heaven with 3 players uncontested, and here we are, 10-7. Andbox basically got given a free A site there, and were able to come up with nothing aside from a plan.
It's a very good point. JC Staney with an operator this time around, not landing anything. But it's just automatic at this point. The Sheriff once again sings Fermata, but this time the rifle's looking like they might be a bit too much. No way. All right, Ye and Seb alone in a 2v2. They have not upgraded weapons, which might be for the best at this point. Ye drops, Seb left alone. He's got the Sheriff. He doesn't have the spike. And he's picked up an operator. Gonna get a chance, not able to land the flick. Chemicals dispatches him. Immortals found themselves in a 2v2. Once again, victims to the brutalization of what Andbox's Sheriffs can do, but they managed to walk away tattered, but not defeated.
Hey, you know what? As good as Andbox's ecos have looked throughout both of these maps, I am happy if I'm Immortals walking away with what they just did. As long as you're not getting ecoed, right? Like, man, I hate to sound kind of like a negative Nancy here, kind of harp a negative note here for Andbox, but we joked about it once. But immediately we saw 2 site executes coming up from Andbox, and their eco round was way better than their gun round execute. I don't know how that happens, but the scoreline is showing that it may have greater ramifications on the outcome of this series as Mod immediately falls from early JC standing aggression. Yay. Thankfully able to pick up the res, but the Hunter's Fury comes out to immediately seek vengeance. And so many tags. I think I see 2 tags total.
Yep, 2 tags. JC Staney's up. No, not bad at all. JC Staney showed proficiency with operator at the beginning of the round. Not going to have that at hand anymore. It was picked up by Shot Up. Now, Chemicals has the lockdown, and there are no Hunter's Furies to challenge that, right? There's nothing to counter that. We'll see, again, Immortals pretty cool, pretty far off. Shot Up's shot just goes a bit wide as it doesn't land. Meanwhile, the wall's gone up. You see Seb has made his way into the back of the site. That should be pretty free entry as they get onto B. Meanwhile, the remaining members of Immortals, looks like they can approach us from a couple of different angles, but this is a really difficult retake, Lex.
Oh, absolutely. This is, you know, you look for maybe the first frag, maybe 2 here, and then you make the decision whether or not it's a go call. But yeah, right away you're going to see these angles are not safe for the defenders. Gangsta, who's been here the whole round, he's like, I'm not leaving. I got to know, come here, come to me. And as I say that, it's deleted by Ye, but man, that round started out, Doug, looking so good for Immortals. You have the pick from the operator coming out from JC Staney. You have the Hunter's Fury from Gangsta lined up.
On the res.
Oh, yeah. And he only gets 1 tag onto the res player. And then I think maybe he was going for 2 or 3 players that were at mid. Perhaps he got the info, but not a tag originally. And he's like, dude, I'm going to get a 3-piece off this. Instead, tags the Sage, who immediately heals herself, and nothing of it, right? So it's crazy to me that went from a 5-on-4, potentially 5-on-3. Well, it was a 4-on-4 as JC Staney got traded back out. Or sorry, a 4-on-5. Okay. Beautiful round there from Andbox and JC Staney, who is probably a little bit peeved about how the last round went. Answers back in kind on device.
Great shot there with the operator again. Meanwhile, Andbox kind of hanging out by A, right? They're going to clear out back by Wine. No noise necessarily being made towards B. So there's no like eye candy, right? There's nothing to make them think about it. But they may pull off anyway.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of information from Shot Up over at middle. But he's not even really peeking much. You got a jump spotter over in defender spawn. And so you may be
right here
seeing Immortals just kind of catch this execute that didn't work out from Andbox before. Just a moment.
JC Staney, late storm online.
Tree take.
They're gonna try to rotate through. Yeah, they've managed to work their way into tree. Always the only one who's still playing back. A couple of kills have already dropped. JC Staney just on the other side of smoke has to go big. No, absolutely whiffs. Doesn't land anything.
Bruh. There was not a greater opportunity to seal this series up than seeing JC standing on the other side of that dark cover with his Blade Storm out and 3 players with it. Oh my gosh. I don't even want to see it again. Close my eyes for this.
They do say that, like, the hardest target to hit.
Somebody's not looking at you.
Yeah, someone who's not looking at you. Because it's almost like too easy there, right? But JC Stanny unfortunately comes up short. Now Immortals are absolutely broken from a financial perspective. You see a couple of Sheriffs, a couple Buckies. Gangsta the only one with something really to cook up. Andbox are in a great spot here, Lex.
Yeah, that's a gift. But you know what? I loved the tree call, just being able to throw us a different look on an A execute. Yay, sensing that early B main aggression. And okay, he's supported by a few teammates over here, but shot up. I don't think he got all that information, so
no.
Immortals basically stays in place across the map.
What do Andbox decide to do here? It takes some of the middle of the map, but they're not committed either which way. It's like they're just expecting, again, Immortals with the financial straits that they're in. They're expecting some of that aggression, right? They're just defaulting out to see where they push through. You just saw Chemicals remove his turret from A, where they were expecting that aggression to come in through. Now they're going to go towards B. They do have a lockdown. You imagine in a situation like this, if that's what they want to use, look at where Chemicals is. Oh, get a chance to come through the wall.
30 seconds left.
All right, they've gotten onto the site. Vice gets the spike down. And once again, they're anchored in. The one difference is Seb. He's in a spot where he can really blow things up if left unchecked here. And he can wait out the smoke, understanding that they're likely going to be pushing through. How much patience does Seb have? Rossi's staring right at him with the Bucky. He hears them pass. Oh, it's a firing squad. Seb gets 3. Ye gets 1 as well. Oh my gosh, Andbox played that so well, Lex.
That is some timing, man. I don't know why Rossi looked away. For some reason, he thought somebody was behind him that wasn't a friend. But, Seb just reaping the greatest of fortunes with a free 3K. The patience unparalleled, and now, speaking of paralleled, we are almost drawn even now. 11-10, Andbox coming back with a strong answer in the past 3 rounds, basically, where, you know, maybe not always winning the engagements, but certainly are coming away with the round outcomes now as JC Stanny, again with an operator in hand. You see a timeout rolling out now. You have a Hunter's Fury on Boy. You know, you've got Cosmic Divide. You have a lockdown for Chemicals here, so both teams potentially with some round-winning ultimates, perhaps one more important than the other to deal with that lockdown on Boy, but ultimately, I think this has been an Andbox second half, and now as Immortals has drawn this, 11th round, they have yet, even, I say come close, but a few close calls may have lent them that 12th round. It has yet to happen. And gotta wonder whether or not this is Andbox's map to take at this point.
Looks like a pretty default setup out of Andbox early on in Lex. I think, well, hang on. I like this aggression that we're seeing out of JC Stanny. Early on, he's postured up. He had the op. You hear him dash away, so he knows if that operator's gone, Mada's going to get that, run it back online, see what he can make happen with that ultimate.
Being so careful. I love that. They immediately get the info. Okay, operators over here. Tailwind just got used. JC Stanny just reposted on the angle, and so the window will close here in a few moments. But Immortals will be sure to suspect that this... Well, as I say that, Mada has regrouped back towards B main. So they may be electing to stay, trying to play the extra mental game here, expecting Immortals to rotate towards A, and yet JC Stanny has yet to move.
I can't help but feel like this map... Oh my god.
That's it right here, man.
Oh, look at what they did, right? It's a dummy lockdown that draws out the other lockdown in response, but that's not where the play is. They're going towards B. The spike is going to make its way there, but Rossi has to go big. He's good for 1. He's going to drop. They're going to get onto the site. The res is going to come back up. Andbox have taken control of B. But Lex? All right, now they're going to commit to it. Ye's getting the heal. Spike goes down. This is still a straight up 5v5 too. This is going to be an absolute bloodbath. Ye gets one. The Hunter's Fury coming out. Shot up. Trying to dodge any damage. I don't know if he's going to be able to dodge much more. No, he drops. Oh.
You got baited by the overlay, man.
Unreal.
It's all good. That was so close, though. You got to think, and that's why I kind of said it like I did, where it's like, hey, surely they regroup towards A here after sensing the operators here, and yet they are thinking ahead, recognizing that Immortals has that read now. They have that information, and we've given them all of B main. Of course they're going to rotate towards A, so let's hit B. Popping the run it back, draws out the operator shot. Tailwind has already been burned. So JC Stanny is basically out on an island all by himself. Rossi's late to the rotate. Beautiful job from Andbox to isolate that player towards B, manipulate the rotates, and end at the site where ultimately Immortals was weakest. Well played to them. And now here we are, actually, Doug. Should be 11 each, right? Just an incredible performance in the second half from Andbox to kind of recover from what I would only describe as Immortals dominance up to that point.
And again, we're seeing this like early defaulty type posturing from Andbox. They'll try to get some info, maybe get a pick early on, but just being very patient.
Knowing that there's nobody towards, or at least inside of B main, this A hit potentially coming out from Andbox the next 30 seconds or so. Got Vice all the way on the other side of the map, trying to regroup his team, but press for time. The XQ's got to come through without him.
And the gravity well's there too to just buy time, right? Like, Chemicals is there with the Bucky. The Bucky sings as it gets two. Rossi swings out. Vice with great shots, so Vice good for 3. Not able to get anything more, and what else but the Bucky at the end to bring Immortals to match point. Chemicals with the 3K.
Match point.
Yeah, that seemed as though Andbox was just like, well, we haven't really been given much, and despite the fact that they dealt some early damage towards JC Sanity, they just didn't really have a firm foothold anywhere to split. They were forced into this choke point where gravity wells, any sort of killjoy utility, or even just a Bucky in the hands of Chemicals, that's just going to delay that indefinitely almost, right? Those guys are going not only through a choke point, but into like the thickest meat grinder possible. You've got all kinds of util, and as aforementioned Bucky just, okay, early B push. Is it all to do here on a set, man?
My gosh, JC Stanny with 4 looking for the ace, and the statement's made. JC Stanny mows Andbox apart. Punctuation mark on the 2-0.